Hi, welcome back, all you adventurers of the inner planet that's inside you. Today, we are going to explore another form. If you remember last time, on the very first time on this playlist, which is called Bored Teens Take Heart, uh, we did a form, and that form was instructions. And we talked about how an instruction was a borrowed form, that it is a form of language, a shape of language that's all around us. And it has certain things that help us know its instructions. For example, steps and what not to do, things like that. Today, though, we're going to do a form that is probably the oldest, one of the oldest forms of poetry on the planet. So this is a form that happened when before people were writing, they were creating this kind of poem. And that poem is a riddle. So you probably know what riddles are. You've probably tried out a few. Today we're going to write a riddle. We're going to look at what makes a good riddle, what makes a not so good riddle, and we'll see what we can do. I like to remember myself how riddles were a part of a world that was very different from this one. For one thing, there were no screens, so you and I would not be talking like this. It was, although we'd be talking, but in a different way, right? So at the end of the day, just like what happens in our world, when it's our ordinary world, everyone comes home and we eat, and then we probably watch something. Oh, we go onto screens a lot of the time. But before screens, I like to remember, we had people. We had each other. And so when the day was done, people shared food. Sounds so warm and cozy, really. And sat around a fire of some kind of warmth. And they shared stories. They shared stories of the day. They shared old, ancient fairy tale kind of stories. And they shared riddles. Now, what made riddles so compelling, I think, is that they take a while. A good riddle is so well disguised that you don't get it right away. If you got it right away, it wouldn't really be very entertaining, would it? No. So in a way, you want to chew on it a little bit. You want to go in the wrong direction a few times. And a good riddler, a good person who makes a riddle, leads us astray on purpose. Now, this isn't that different from what happens in any poem. So, because we are disguising things, we are using metaphor, we are, so let's start by thinking about, like I said, what a good riddle is and what a bad riddle is. So, there are two ways a riddle can go wrong. The first one is if I tell you, for example, I am very useful. I come in lots of colors. I come in lots of shapes. What am I? What do you think? Yeah, a pen, a necklace, a picture, my computer, a phone, a mat, anything, really anything in this world, pretty much. So those are not good clues. Every clue in a riddle has to come, and every line of a poem too, has to give us something new, give us something that's worthwhile, that helps us move along. So anything that's general like that is not a good clue. The other way a riddle can go wrong is like this. You take me out when you need to hang a picture on the wall and you need to get a nail in there. And I am good at pounding that nail into the wall. What am I? Yes, a hammer. We all knew it. And I think with that kind of riddle, you'd be booed out of the campfire because it's just, what did it do? It gave us too much, and it didn't disguise it enough. Now, if instead I said something like, I hang out with my friends in my red metal home with a pointed roof. And when things need to be made, I am the friend you ask for, that you call on. And I have a very hard head, which can be useful when you want to make something. Now, so we did a little bit better, right, with that disguise. I still was talking about a hammer. I don't know if you caught that, but probably. So the first thing we're going to do is look at a few old Celtic riddles that the Irish people loved making riddles. A lot of them have survived, the early Celtic people. And so we'll look at some of those. And then also, we're going to look at a few poems that end up being good riddles if you take the title out. If you take the subject out so you don't tell your reader, sometimes a poem can do just the thing a riddle's trying to do, which is it's trying to make us see it in a different way. So different we almost forget what we're actually talking about. So let's start with a couple of these old Celtic riddles. The first one is, a cloud was my mother, a wind is my father. My son is the cool stream, and my daughter is the fruit of the land. A rainbow is my bed, and the earth my final resting place. And I am the torment of man. What am I? The cloud is the mother, the wind is the father, the sun is a cool stream, my daughter is the fruit of the land. A rainbow is my bed, the earth my final resting place. What am I? Is disguised, of course, as nature or something bigger maybe. It's rain. Rain has a cloud for a mother and wind for a father, and the daughter is the fruit of the land that grows, the rainbows. But some people don't know I am the torment of man. You have to imagine a poor Celtic person way back before central heating and drying, and it was pretty wet in their houses, and probably it was very happy when things dried out. So let's try another one. Poke your fingers in my eyes, and I will open wide my jaws. Linen cloth, quills, or paper, my greedy lust devours them all. My greedy hunger devours them all. Now remember, in a good poem and riddle, every clue has to work. And so we might say, oh, that sounds like an alligator. And it's trying to sound like an alligator or something like that because it's got nice wide jaws and it's got eyes and it eats everything. But we don't really poke the fingers in the eyes, and poking the fingers doesn't make the jaws go up. And then what about this line, which is strange to us probably? Linen cloth, we know. Quills are actually feathers, you probably know that. And the way a feather had to be trimmed, the end of it, to make it into a pen or paper. So this creature likes to devour cloth, quills, paper. Anybody got it? Actually, it's a scissors. It's a scissors. I love some of these, like the one we just did, especially, and that hammer one I was doing. They're about ordinary objects, and that's one of my favorite things to do, ordinary objects. So you'll see that, it's a scissors. We poke the fingers in the eye, then it opens its jaws, and actually we probably use scissors, I'm sure we did, since this poem helped me learn that. Cut quills, cut the points of our pens with a scissors. You might try that during your time at home. Make yourself a quill. All right, let's try another. I always like this one. I contain mountains that lie down and rivers you can burn. My cities are as quiet is the end of a sentence. Look, a fly has landed in my sea. So you might, there's lots of different ways to think of this, but of course the thing that really works is one, and it is a map. So a map has mountains that lie down, rivers, it's made of paper that can burn. My cities are as quiet, I like this one, are as quiet as the end of a sentence. Of course, at the end of a sentence, we're quiet. And also there's what? A period. And a period, what does a city look like on a map? A period. And of course, a fly can land in its sea. I'm going to give you this other one because it's just so tricky. Try this one. I am the beginning of sorrow and the end of sickness. You cannot express happiness without me. Yet I am in the midst of crosses. I am always at risk, yet never in danger. You may find me in the sun, but doubly in darkness. What am I? Now, many people think death or sorrow, all kinds of big ideas like that. But this is a really tricky one, and I'm going to tell you what it is. The letter S. The letter S. I'm going to read it again. I am the beginning of sorrow and the end of sickness. You cannot express happiness without me. Yet I am in the midst of crosses. I am always in risk, yet never in danger. You may find me in the sun, but doubly in darkness. All right, now one more thing I'm going to do is recite one of my poems that I think if I just take the title out, most of what it's disguised. It's a little bit disguised. So here we go. If you listen, you might hear me up there in the top drawer, grandmother of the top drawer, laughing about the way life slipped from me like a chicken noodle. In my earlier life, I was the bright-eyed floozy of the dining room, but my heart was too big. I gave it all away. Now I spend long hours in the crumb-lined corner, remembering my days with the Delft blue plate, how we ran away together and caused such a stir the cook jumped over the moon. There's a little more to it, but I think that's a good enough start. Do we know what I'm talking about? I'll tell you, the running away with the dish is a big clue in there. It's a spoon, you're right. What kind? Its heart was too big, and it slipped like a chicken noodle, her life. Yes, it's a soup spoon. So that's how we work with riddles in poetry. And my assignment for you today is to let's try to write 2 riddles. And the first one, I'd like you to try a simple, ordinary object. You can just look around your house. You could do a marker pen. You could do what else do we have right here? I have a light switch. That'd be interesting. I have, what else is around here? Well, I'd rather we don't do electronics, to be totally honest with you. Okay, so that's good enough for a start. So pick something ordinary. Some of the ones that are really interesting, because we have some interesting things in our world, are mirrors, clocks, sundial. I'm looking out at the bird feeder, candles, different kinds of light. Now, your job, of course, is I want you to do at least 5 clues for us. And each clue should have a poetic feeling to it. And what I mean by that is description, so that we're getting colors, we're getting shapes, we're getting textures, but we're disguising. One of the easiest ways to disguise is to personify. If you know that word, personify means to turn something that's not a person into a person. So what I did, I'm the grandmother of the top drawer. And life slipped from me and I ran away. I do things that human beings do, and then you don't think first thing that it's a spoon, that it's some object. We think it's a person. So that's one example. The second one you do, you could try something bigger. You could try something, if you want, like time or rain or Mother Nature or lockdown or something like that. Remember, 5 clues, they all have to work. Remember what the forbidden clues are. The forbidden clues for this are, I am very useful. Forget that. It's not a good clue. Everything's useful. I come in many shapes and sizes. Forget that one. No many shapes and sizes. I come in many colors. Forget that too. I mean, this world comes in so many colors. So everything does, pretty much. So see if you can find clues that really do aim so that when we hear the answer, a light goes on. That's really the sign that a riddle has worked. When the answer comes, in fact, when I do this in class and someone gets the answer, I can usually see it out there. They go, I got it. And you know they do. Like the people that go like this, it's probably not the right answer because maybe one of the clues worked, 2 of the clues worked. Every clue has to work. And it's good to try these out on people. So try them out on your family tonight at dinner. Send them to me at my website, which is www.prarthosereno.com. I'll collect a few and I'll read them and we'll see what happens with our audience out there. I'd love to hear from you. Also subscribe to the channel. It's a great way to keep up. We're going to keep going. So happy days. Write some riddles. Send them along. Share them with everybody. Sit around your tiny little campfire with whoever's there at home. Might just be a candle. Might just be the kitchen light. And I'll see you next time.